Hey guys, I am here with Cassidy Tuttle. Cassidy Tuttle literally wrote the book about succulents, The Idiot's Guide to Succulents. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, I'm happy to be here.
What are we gonna make today?
So today we're gonna make a vertical planter with succulents. So we have this awesome vertical planter made by Dalla Vita. So the awesome thing about it is it actually has two hooks or holes where you can hang it from, and then they also work as drainage holes. So if you want, you can leave the planter just sitting on a table, or you can hang it on your wall. Either way, it works really well. Sphagnum moss, and I've already soaked it in water. It's much easier to use if it's wet. So just soak it in water and kind of squeeze it out. It's kind of nasty stuff. Clippers, a chopstick, a little paintbrush with soft bristles, and then succulents. As you can see, just a variety of sizes, big, small, and most of them are similar shape, but we have some different ones that are tall to kind of add variety.
Cool. I am excited to make this. I love succulents, and I always turn to Cassidy when I have a question about succulents because I'm really good at killing them, even though I think they're invincible. So I'm hoping you can enlighten us and tell us a few things about how we can actually get succulents to stay alive.
To get started, you're gonna put the damp moss in the planter. So just stuff it in, and the hole in the middle is bigger, but you can just put it wherever you want. Just fill it up.
Should it be really dense inside?
You want it pretty full, but not like super tight. After your planter is filled with moss, then it's time to start adding the succulents. Since this is a circle, you want to start in the middle and work your way out, otherwise it gets really tricky. Just a quick note about succulents, most of these that I'm using have roots, but the awesome thing about succulents is they don't actually have to have roots to be planted. They will grow. So let me show you what I mean.
These magical little creatures.
These cute little guys, they don't stand up very well with or without roots, so you can just cut off at the base of the plant or really wherever you want. And for today, I'm gonna go ahead and plant this, but normally you would wait about a day or two and the end will heal. It'll like callus like a scab, and then that way it won't rot. When you're working with a brand new succulent from a pot, you wanna take off as much of the soil as you can. I always like to have a bin or something that I can put garbage in, and you're just gonna break off all the soil. And if some of the roots come off too, it's not a big deal, because we learned that they can grow with or without roots initially. I'm gonna start with the biggest succulent in the middle, just to make it prettier. And I dug a little hole in the moss with my finger, and then I'm just setting the succulent in there. You can push on the top a little bit to get it stuck in. And then I'm gonna pull some extra moss from here and just stick it around the roots of the succulent to really hold it in tight. And that's where the chopstick comes in. It works really well to just to stuff the moss right around the roots. So once you have moss packed in around that succulent, then you start adding more. So some of these don't have very big roots or any roots. You just stick them in and just kind of squeeze them in there. If they have extra room, you can pack more moss around it. Otherwise, just kind of let it go.
Yeah, I think these are so foreign because it's not what you do to flowers.
Yeah. You have to be like so gentle with flowers.
Yeah.
And you can deal with these a little bit. I mean, like the leaves will fall off sometimes, but oh well, they grow back. I don't know.
Okay, this is fun. It's like arranging a color palette.
Yeah.
I was always so curious how succulent vertical gardens work because to me there's no reason why they should stay up due to gravity, but you really have to pack them in. Well, let's do these guys. Can we do those guys?
Yeah. So these are stretched out through here instead of compact because they didn't get enough light. And you'll notice they're compact here again because they started getting more light.
Interesting. So they will even themselves out again.
Yeah, but they won't shrink.
And then how big does everything get? Like some of these little ones, will they grow into their into it, or how big do they get?
They will grow a little bit more. These get quite a bit bigger. But having everything packed really tight like this without room to grow keeps them small.
Okay. It's so pretty.
After everything's all planted, then you can just take your paintbrush and brush off all the extra moss to get everything looking clean.
We did it! You did it, actually.
You helped, definitely.
I was like the little elf in the corner with the chopstick going crazy. But it looks beautiful. So what's this? What do we got?
Okay, so now the moment of truth is, can we stand it up? And if something happens to fall out,
That's okay, right?
not a big
No! Come back!
So, most of the time, if you're packing the moss around, things will stay in place just like they are here. But if not, and you want to hang it up right away, just use a little bit of floral glue on the root of the plant and then stick it back in and make sure the glue is touching the planter so that it has something to adhere to. You can also use hot glue if you don't want to purchase the floral glue, but I do feel like the floral glue holds it in better and it lasts a little longer.
And it's safe and it'll still grow.
Yep, the succulent will actually put roots right through the glue, whether it's hot glue or floral glue.
Amazing.
So we worked with all rooted succulents. They all had roots, so we were tucking the moss around. If you're working with cuttings without roots, you'll probably need to leave it for a couple weeks or use floral glue for the roots to really take hold.
Okay, great. I'm terrible with succulents. I always think they're invincible, and I've learned they're not. So what are like some essential things we need to know about succulents to keep them alive?
So the first thing I always recommend is having a pot with a drainage hole. So if you'll remember when we started with this, it has 2 holes in the back that you can use to hang it or to provide drainage. So that's absolutely essential. As you get to be more expert, you can do pots without drainage. But for now, start with the drainage hole.
Check.
And then the next thing is actually soil. So for this, we use the Spangham moss and it drains really well. So when you water, the water's gonna go through the moss and come out the bottom, and it will make sure that the succulent roots stay dry after a day or 2. It'll dry out almost completely.
Cool. Awesome.
And then the last thing is actually how to water succulents.
Yes.
There's a lot of misconceptions.
What is the trick? Tell us everything.
So once you have your drainage hole and your well-draining soil, then you wanna actually soak the soil with water. So for this, I would pour water over the top, and Spangham moss almost repels water when it's dry. So you have to water it a couple times to make sure it's getting totally soaked, and then you let it dry out completely in between. So it's the same thing with your well-draining soil. You wanna soak the soil and then let it dry out completely before you water it
Are we
again.
talking like a day, 2 days, a week?
Depending on where you live and where your succulents are growing, it could be a couple days, it could be a week. In the winter, when it's cooler, it takes even longer.
Okay.
But a good way to tell is when this is full of water, it's pretty heavy. And then as it dries out, it gets lighter. So after you water it, just kind of notice how heavy it is. And then in a couple days, lift it up. You can also look at the drainage holes on the bottom. And generally, if those are dry, the soil is dry all the way through.
Brilliant. You guys, go to our website, Succulents and Sunshine. How can we learn where to buy all this stuff?
So there'll be a link in the description below. So just click the link and I'll have a free PDF for you with a photo tutorial and then also links to buy everything.
Awesome.
And a quick guide on
Ooh.
drainage hole, soil, and water so you know how to start.
Let's all thank Cassidy. She's changing lives, one succulent at a time. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe. We'll be doing lots of tutorials and other fun crafts. Thanks, we'll see ya.